Oh, hello, hello. So there's been this thing that we've been wanting to do for a while, which was to actually put together kind of a house menu. So we have a list of rums, we have a list of all of our spirits, we actually have a list of all of our bitters, which that's kind of impressive as well. But we don't have anything that we could hand to people and say,
bitters.
if you want a cocktail, bitters, yeah, that's all bitters. Yet my bitters selection is larger than many people's bars. Yeah. So, but that's all right. Got to have something to do during the quarantine, right?
Right.
That's what that was. But we needed a menu that I could actually hand to people that just come by, not for a particular occasion or anything else. So, if we're just having drinks, I can go, here, we can do all sorts of this stuff. Here's the things we know we can do right now. And if you want to ask me about doing other things, chances are good I can do most of those as well, but not necessarily all. Everything on this menu is intended to be something I know we can do on any given day. So that's what we did. We put together the version 0 of that menu for now, right?
So we have Lovecraft Cocktails Tiki menu.
Because of course there's going to be tiki drinks on that menu. And then
we have the, it's a computer around. We have the not tiki.
Right.
And then we have rum tastings and non or low alcoholic.
Right. So I figured, that should be good. But we should then do a couple of drinks, 2-3 drinks off of the non-tiki menu, because you've been watching me make tiki drinks for forever. So, it's time to do something besides tiki drinks. And last summer, we had discussed doing caipirinhas, and we never got around to doing caipirinhas, so we should do caipirinhas this summer. So as a consequence, caipirinhas are going to be one of the drinks we're going to do this evening. The second drink we're going to do is Mezcal margaritas. We have at least three different types of margarita on the home menu. So we have Tommy's margarita, we have the sort of standard margarita, and then we have a mezcal margarita, which is essentially just a standard margarita where you've split the base between mezcal and tequila. And then last we have some gin drinks, and the gin drink we're going to do for you this evening is the Aviation, because as it so happens, despite me saying, hey, I can do these drinks no matter when, it turns out I'm actually low on honey syrup, and so was not actually able to do the bee's knees tonight like my wife had hoped. But she loves the Aviation, so we're going to do the Aviation as well. Or instead of, that's right, instead of, we're going to do the Aviation. But first, we need to toast, right? Should be some toasting?
Yes.
So, are there things to toast? There are things to toast. And what are we going to be drinking? What are we going to be toasting with? Well, the first drink that we're going to start with is a Caipirinha. And Caipirinhas are made with Cachaca. And we happen to have this Avua Cachaca that we got from Ace Beverage a while back. This is Cachaca Prata. And we quite like this. It's a little bit unusual for a Cachaca, but Cachaca is produced from sugarcane. It has that in common with sort of the rum agricole tradition of France, but there's some various other things that make it very specific to Cachaca. Many people seem to think that Cachaca can't be aged. That's not true. This is not an aged Cachaca. At least I don't believe it is. No, it does not look like it is. It is pot distilled. But we thought we should taste a little bit of the Cachaca before we go throwing it into a Caipirinha. And we're going to toast with that. Star, do you have something that you would like to toast to?
Going out?
Oh, so we did spend yesterday out, like not even in Alexandria. We didn't go anywhere this weekend because that's just stupid, right?
Well, we had thought about it.
We had thought about it, but it was stupid, so we didn't, yes. Right? Traveling this weekend is both expensive and just kind of hellaciously busy and all that sort of thing. So what we did is we went into the district.
Yes.
And we spent the entire day into the district.
Yeah.
We went to City Market. We went
Right.
over to Cotton and Reed.
Yeah, with Amanda.
Which, I should have brought down the bottle that we bought from Cotton and Reed, and we could have toasted with that.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
upstairs, so not doing that. We went back to City Market for more
Yeah,
dessert.
yeah.
And then
We went over to Left Door,
left door
which
and
we
we
have
visited
not
them.
been
Yep.
to since pre-pandemic.
Right, and they've had like 100% turnover.
Yeah.
It seems like over there at Left Door.
And
So it's
then-
not. That's one of the things about, especially about COVID, but is I think largely true of we have a moth,
do.
which is largely true of just about any bar over like a 3 to 5 year period.
Right.
Is often you get massive turnover in the crew and sometimes even management of the bar, and so you got to kind of check back and
Yeah, it's
make
like
sure.
this is still one of our
Right,
shortlist
right.
bars.
And then we wandered around looking for food,
Right?
and we wound up just going to Archipelago instead. And we had plenty of food at Archipelago, and
Yeah.
it was Ben's Chili Bowl or Archipelago.
And we met Jason.
Jason,
I don't know.
yeah, I do, but yeah, whatever.
Jason.
I think
We met him at Left Door and then connected back with him
right,
at Archipelago.
showed up at Archipelago.
Yeah. And one of our favorite servers at Archipelago was actually there just hanging out and drinking.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we got to
Yep.
hang with him a bit.
So, here's to getting out of the house and just getting out for the weekend.
Yeah.
Here's to Matt and Gabby putting an offer on a house.
Ooh.
Here's to Gwen beginning the journey.
Yes.
So leaving LA and
Yeah.
coming on her way here.
Yeah.
I'm sure Gemma is looking forward to
Yeah.
that.
Then Dorley just came down with a new toy.
Yeah.
And Gemma's following.
Cachaca, 42%.
Very grassy, but not in the way that Agricola is
is.
grassy.
Yeah.
grassy.
It's just a very different spirit. And when you start talking about, well, how is it different? It's like, well, it does this. Well, so does rum agricole. Or it does this. Well, so does this other rum. And it's like, I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah, yeah.
It just really is. So we're going to have to sit Matt down at some point and go, not Matt and Gabby, different Matt.
Yeah.
And go, look, let's talk Cachaca. Let's talk Cachaca and how it differs from a rum agricole.
Who we meet in 2 weeks.
We do. We do.
And in 2 weeks, we have no idea what's going to happen with the broadcast because we're going to be in the air and we might do it late. We don't know yet.
We might do it early. We might do it late.
Yeah,
we might do
we'll-
it on a different day.
We'll let you know.
Caipirinha. Caipirinha, I actually listed as a variant of a daiquiri on the menu. And that will probably get me into trouble with purists. But look, it's basically rum, a sweetener, and lime. So how is that not kind of a daiquiri, right? So, but there are very much differences between how you would do a daiquiri and how you would do a caipirinha. So I'm going to show you how to do a caipirinha. And we are going to reach over and use, you can use whatever kind of glass you would like. I'm going to use this small rocks glass right there. It's a traditional rocks glass as opposed to the double rocks glass or Mai Tai glass, right? So there you go. You probably can't see those. How about that? There you go. Rocks glass, double rocks. Okay. So what do we start with? Well, we start with a lime. We are then going to attack this lime. So you want to cut off the ends of the lime. So we're going to do... Oh, that's not good. We visited the cutlery store, but we didn't bring home anything from the cutlery store because they're really pretty.
He had his first Caipirinha a while back.
Fogo de Chao or something like that would be my guess, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this lime and we are going to cut out the center pith because you don't want any of that nasty pithiness, right? I mean, pithiness can be a good thing, but in this case, it's not. Right? I mean, it's good in a journalist, but it's bad here. Okay, there we go. All right, now you want to take these two halves, and you would like to quarter them. All right, fair enough. We just go like that, and then you can go like that. These don't have to be great cuts, by the way. We're not. They should be. Wow, I'm gonna have to just get this knife. Sharpened. Oof. That's just awful. Folks, don't use dull knives. It's bad for you and it's bad for your knives. Alright, it's not like I have a shortage of knives. I have plenty of knives around here. But alright, so what we're going to do is we are going to take all of these lime pieces and we're going to put them in this glass. Now, I know some instructions say, make sure you put them with the lime peel on the outside. Yeah, I don't really think it matters a whole lot. All right, next up, you're going to take not simple syrup, but actual sugar. We're going to take 1 teaspoon of sugar. If you really want to be cool about this, you can take a teaspoon. You can take your sugar and either buy superfine sugar, or you can run your regular sugar through a blender really quickly or a food processor, and it will make you have superfine sugar, almost powdered sugar. But don't use powdered sugar for this because powdered sugar has cornstarch in it and it will cause a mess in this drink. All right, so you follow me there? Superfine sugar, or if you don't have superfine sugar, regular sugar is fine. Now you have sugar, you have limes. We are now going to muddle them. And you want to lightly muddle them. You don't want to just crush the daylights out of these, because remember, there's still pith between the meat of the limes and the peel, and you don't want to express too much of that because that's really pretty bitter. So we're just going to do this. So you get nice limey goodness here. Right, just like that. There you go. It's basically getting a lime slurry going here. That's all you got to do. Not too much. And then it's 2 ounces of cachaca. All right, 2 ounces of cachaca. Go here. This glass 8 may actually be a little light for this cocktail. There we go. Because Caipirinha should be cold. Should be very cold. So what I'm going to do here is normally I would go ahead and use cubed ice. But I'm not going to in this case because I'm running out of a little room here. We're just going to do that. Right.
Keith had it at La Brasseria, which is also a
Brazilian steakhouse.
Brazilian steakhouse.
So usually you would want to do this with some form of cubed ice, but I'm running out of room and I want to make sure that I've got this cold enough and diluted enough. All right, so we're just going to do this. We can just bring this up and down to just mix all of this. All right, and then you just set this aside for a moment and let that hang out. Those flavors will meld together. Now, one of the advantages here of using the sugar instead of using a simple syrup. So if you use a simple syrup, you don't get the particulate pieces of this sugar kind of grinding into the lime and getting more of those oils expressed. So that's part 1. Part 2, the simple syrup is just going to combine easily with the lime juice and cachaca, and it'll create a uniform cocktail. What this does is the sugar will dissolve over time, and as a consequence, your cocktail will evolve over time. And that's one of the great things about a caipirinha that is different from a daiquiri, because this will evolve over time into a slightly different drink, whereas your daiquiris are meant to be just sort of sucked down. I mean, once the daiquiri starts to warm up, life is bad for the daiquiri. So you want to go attack that as rapidly as you can. But so here we go. This is typical caipirinha. It is sugar, it is limes, it is cachaca, and ice. That's it. And we're going to take a taste of this.
It is actually a Barcelona restaurant.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Enjoy it while you can, because you know as soon as I pick this up,
that's
it's going
gone.
away.
I mean, it has that sensation of a daiquiri, but it's so not a daiquiri. It's hard to describe. It is also the national drink of Brazil.
It is.
So, yeah.
We learned it at a Brazilian steakhouse.
I think it's where every American learned it, right?
Where
Unless you came from Brazil or
bring
South
it,
America.
you know,
The
where they
cart.
bring the meat on skewers. Meat faucets are
Meat
what we call
faucets,
them.
yeah.
And they often have a Caipirinha cart. And they come around with cart and make Caipirinhas.
And sometimes they have different juices and that sort of thing that they put in
Yeah.
there. So you can have a passion fruit Caipirinha, which is actually a Caipra fruta, I think, right? And you can make this, but don't. You can make this with vodka, and it's called a Caipiroska.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Use something that's got some character to it, and in this case, the Cachaca. You can also make it with rum, and I don't remember what the name for making it with a light rum is. But yeah, it's really tasty. Oh, yeah. It's just bright and lovely. The particular Cachaca that we're using, the Avua, has a slightly heavier, slightly creamier mouthfeel than I am used to with your typical Cachacas, like Pita or Pitu and some, what's the other one? I don't remember what the other one is that we use. But yeah, I quite like this one just because of that difference in mouthfeel. So very nice.
Keith learned it from you.
Keith learned it from me. Okay, the Caipirinha, you learned it from me. Well, that's good to hear. At least I'm teaching somebody something useful. All right, so that's drink number one. Most of the drinks on the cocktail menu that aren't tiki drinks are going to be relatively simple, like the Caipirinha. There's only so much brain power I have for doing cocktails, and I don't really want to do like a 12 ingredient cocktail of all sorts of different proportions that isn't a tiki cocktail, that isn't already in my tiki canon. Hi, Gemma, you poor little girl. Yes. So next drink is going to be similar. It is a margarita, and I've got several margaritas, like I said, on the menu. But this is going to be a sort of typical standard margarita. The only real difference here is that we are splitting the base between a mezcal and a tequila. And if we suddenly lose connection, it's because one of my cats is playing with my internet cord that connects the broadcast camera. So we'll see how things go. We'll just keep plowing along. So what are we going to do? So we're going to do a margarita. So what do we need in order to do a margarita? Well, we're going to shake the margarita. So let me go over here. We're going to grab one of these, and we're going to grab one of these. We'll make sure that works. Yep, that does. Okay, so we're going to start here. This is a mixing pint, or actually this is just a pint glass. This is Liquid Aloha from Kona Brewing Company, which we picked up at not the Hukilau. Inuele in Atlanta on our first visit, and we're going to mix in here and shake. Right? Okay, so what goes in here? Well, first of all, 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, and this is my lime juice. And thank you, John Schott, by the way. John was doing drinks for a charity event this week, a charity event at which my lovely wife got honored. She is now on the wall of honor for her volunteer time with Carpenter Shelter. And afterwards, he happened to have some super juice, that is super lime juice, left over. And so now I have like a quart container of super juice. And this is about 1.5 ounces of super juice and 1.5 ounces of fresh lime juice, just to brighten that up a bit. We need 3/4 of an ounce. Right, that's a little heavy. Let's do that. There we go. 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. Next, depending on how sweet you like your cocktail, we're going to go with somewhere between 1/4 ounce and 1/2 ounce of agave nectar. So, dear wife, you are probably drinking a fair amount of this margarita. Although you've got the Caipirinha. Do you want 1/4 ounce? Do you want 1/2 ounce? Do you want it really sweet? Do you want a 3/4 ounce?
I want a 1/2 ounce.
You want a 1/2 ounce. Okay. We go with 1/2 ounce of agave nectar. Does it make a difference that we're using agave nectar for our sweetener? I don't know if it's somatic, psychosomatic in my head or not, but it really seems to. It really does seem to be a difference in how this integrates with the agave spirits in a different way that simple syrup does. Could you do this with simple syrup? Absolutely you can. And my guess is the vast majority of the margaritas that you've had in your life have been done with simple syrup. which means the vast majority of the margaritas served in the United States are done with simple syrup. So you could totally do that. We're just going to use agave syrup because I'm a snob, right? Might as well have my bar experience be slightly different from the bar experience that you can get out in town, right? So lime juice, agave, we need 3/4 of an ounce of some orange liqueur, and you can use Curacao, you can use triple sec, you can use Cointreau. All of those are different and will provide slightly different taste profiles and sweetness profiles to your margarita, but just a little bit of orange liqueur. I happen to not want to use that. That's the wrong bottle. Whoops, that would have been bad. That's a bottle of Chinar. that would have been really, really bad. No, what I wanted to do was use up the last of my Lion Distilling orange Curacao here. Man, Chinar would have been so bad. Chinar is an Amaro. You'll note it's got like apricots, artichokes on the label for it, and yeah, that would have been bad. That would have been so bad. Okay, so that's the last of my Lion Distilling Curacao, and that is nowhere near what we need for this. So I could reach for the Grand Marnier and kind of balance that out, or I just happen to have the Pierre Ferrand orange Curacao sitting out here, so I'm just going to fill that up and use just straight Curacao for this. Curacao is, even dry, quote-unquote dry Curacao is actually still sweeter than Cointreau. So this cocktail may be a little on the sweet side, but that's okay, because that's the way my baby likes it.
Yeah.
Right? That goes there. And that'll probably be that'll probably be a nice counterpoint to the smoky elements of the mezcal, which is what we're putting in right now. So we're going to go with the Fidencia Classico. This is from Matalan, Oaxaca, and the thing about mezcals is that they are very regional. The terroir for the mezcal matters a great deal. Terroir, how much the land and the cultivation of the base plant, in this case the agave, actually matters to the spirit. And in this case, my dear wife is really a hyper big fan of the Matalan mezcals, and so whenever you have a Oaxacan mezcal, that's going to get her attention, and if it's from the Matalan subregion, she's going to be even more interested. So we're just about ready to kill this bottle of Fidencio. This is a young mezcal, and that's perfectly fine for this purpose. You don't need to go with something that's like hyper aged. Not unless you're doing a real super premium margarita, and we are not in this case. My house margarita is not going to be a super premium margarita. And then for tequila, you know, there's been a lot of margaritas that have been served out there with really bad tequila. We don't have really bad tequila here. And about the low well tequila that we have is the Terramana. This is the Rocks tequila. Say what you will about celebrity tequilas. I like this one, so we're going to use that. And we're going to go an ounce of Terramana Joven tequila. The difference between tequila and mezcal: all tequilas are mezcals. Not all mezcals are tequila. In order to be tequila, it has to actually be made with blue agave, a very particular type of agave plant. Mezcals can be made with whatever agave happens to be in that particular region. And that's why there's a difference between tequila from wherever and mezcal from a particular region, because the mezcal is using agave from that particular region, right? I mean, there's other differences, but that's...
No, the tequila is the smaller classification.
Right, the tequila is a smaller classification because
Right.
it's blue agave.
Right.
But you can grow blue agave in different spots.
Yes.
Right? So blue agave is blue agave is blue agave for the most part. Right? Okay. What else am I missing? Lime juice, agave, mezcal, tequila, orange liqueur. Nope, that's good. All right, so this is going to sit right here because most of the time folks want to see a salted rim on their margarita, right? Hun, you want a salted rim on your margarita? Okay. Remember in the past, I've told you that my saline solution here, this saline solution, is blue because I used blue colored salt to make that? Well, just for fun, thank you, Bam, we're going to use blue margarita salt to rim this glass. Because I can, right? Okay, so how do you do this? So you're just going to take some salt, put it on a plate. There we go. And then what you want to do is take a coupe, or whatever glass you are going to put this in. All right, so we're going to put ours in a margarita glass. And you want to take something like a citrus. So we're going to take a little bit of, what do we got over here? We got another lemon over here. We can do that. We're just going to whack off a hunk of this lemon. We actually use a knife that has an edge on it. And you don't have to use much of the lemon. See, I just whacked off one end. And you just want to take that, and you're going to go around the outside of your glass. The outside of the glass. If you get too much salt on the inside of the glass, then it will change the complexity of your drink, and you don't want to do that. And so we're just going to press this down into the salt. All right, just like that. If you use water, it doesn't stick nearly as well. If you want, you can run your finger through, or a paper towel or something like that, just to make sure that you don't get any salt in there, which would disrupt the balance. So there you go. How pretty is that? Huh?
Ooh.
You can do this while it's just sitting there. Don't do this after you've already shaken the cocktail. Because if you do it after you've shaken the cocktail, it will continue to dilute. There you go. All right, so we're going to put some ice in here. We're going to shake this up. Ice, ice. I was pulling ice out of the freezer this evening and just shoving my ice scoop in there, and ice flew everywhere, and one piece of ice went right down the shirt. Oh, is that cold? Woo! Alright, I'm going to go in here. You may be asking why I used lemon instead of lime. Because it was literally the first citrus that fell into my hand. I could have used lime juice or a lime to rim it. Didn't matter. So we have margarita. We have a salt rimmed glass. One of the things you can do with salt rim, by the way, if you don't know whether or not your patron wants the salted rim because you forgot to ask or whatever, or you want to make it look pretty but you don't want to salt the entire rim, salting half of a rim is perfectly reasonable. We are going to double strain this.
Now, says Copy.
Yay! It's good to be heard. I mean, it's good to be seen.
And Bruce says, nice glassware.
Seen and heard. There we go. We're double straining this. Just like that. And there you go. There's a margarita for you. So there you have it. Here is a Mezcal margarita with a blue rim for no good reason other than I happen to have blue salt.
Because you can.
Oh man. That's special. Oh, that's really good. That's really, really good. That's really good.
That is really good.
That mezcal and that tequila work really nicely together.
Making yourself one?
I'm going to go with a slightly less salted rim, and then I'm going to do this because because I can, because there was almost another half margarita in that shaker, because my cubes are a little on the small side. It's alright, it's okay. Saraitsuke. Yummy.
Yum.
So you certainly get the agave, right? You get that distinctly tequila flavor to it. But what makes this different is the mezcal, and you're struck by the agave. Yep, okay, that's a margarita. Yep, that's a tequila sour. Yeah, wait, it about mid-taste, it kind of diverts and goes off to the side, and there's this smoky vegetable element element to it that is coming straight from the mezcal, and that's brilliant. That is so yummy. Oh, that is really nice.
Yum.
That is quite a good margarita right there. Yep. It's like, I'm a margarita. Wait a second, there's some smoke in my life. Neat. I like that. I like that a lot. And the smoke hangs out. It just kind of sits there on your palate. Really nice. Really nice. All right, 2 down. So we've got a drink from the rum selection, the rum and cachaca selection. We have a drink from the agave spirit selection. I did not tee up a drink from the whiskey selection, but I did tee up a drink from the gin selection. And that's what we're going to do next for my dear wife, who is probably going to be schnockered by the end of this episode. So last drink, Aviation. Aviation is, again, a shaken cocktail. And we are going to, might as well. We use the same glassware. We'll use the Kona. Right? It's rinsed out. It's fine. That is the wonderful thing about having one of these bartender's friends on the back bar. If you haven't seen it, if you're just tuning in, this is one of those spray attachments to your bar or to your faucet. You've seen these probably in bars where the bartender can just take their glassware or their shaker or whatever and presses it down, and it shoots water up into it, sprays it out, and lets it drain out. And it's just an instant rinse for your glassware. Very nice. Makes it very quick to just move on to the next drink. Unless, of course, you're standing around talking like I am doing right now. So let's get on with the Aviation. Right? How are we doing on time? Well, we're doing fine. We got 20 minutes to do an Aviation. If I can't do an Aviation in 20 minutes, we're in serious trouble. The Aviation cocktail starts with 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, and then for its sweetener, it's using Luxardo, which is this, which looks like a Chianti bottle but isn't. All right, so this is Luxardo. This is a maraschino liqueur. It is not. Well, it is kind of made from maraschino cherries, but it's made, as I understand it, from the pits of the cherries as opposed to the cherry meat. This is a liqueur, comes in at 32% alcohol, but is definitely a sweeter liqueur, and hence that's where we're getting our sweetness from for this cocktail. So we're going to go with 3/4 of an ounce, right? No, I'm sorry, 1/2 ounce of Luxardo. It's 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. Here's the 1/2 ounce of Luxardo. And then we're going to close that up. I'm a little nose blind from the, what's the burning stuff sitting in front of me?
Incense.
Incense, yes, that stuff. It's 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, not lime juice, and it is 3/4 of an ounce. That's where I was getting mixed up between the 3/4 and the 1/2 ounce. So there we go, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Lemon and gin seems to be a really natural combination. All right, so there you go. So there's the lemon juice, there's the sweetener and the Luxardo. We need 2 ounces of gin. Might as well. This is not going to be the house version of this. Probably for the house version, we're going to use something like Sipsmith gin or maybe Botanist, something along those lines. But we're sitting around, we're drinking amongst ourselves, and so we're going to use the Monkey 47, which is really just quite yummy.
Yes.
and expensive. It's expensive. So we're going to do that. There's 2 ounces. Like, why is this called an Aviation? It's a gin sour at this point, where the sweet component is coming from the Luxardo. What makes it an Aviation? What makes it an Aviation is its light blue color. That's not light blue. There's no way that that's light blue. So how does that become light blue? It's the addition of creme de violette. And somebody whined upstairs. I don't know who that
No,
was.
Dorley brought a toy.
Did she?
Yes.
Does she want to play?
Yes.
Okay. Creme de violette. Creme de violette was not available in the States for a fairly long time. It was essentially stopped being produced. But now there's a couple of manufacturers of the creme de violette. Oh, it's that ball that she's brought down before.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, it was so cute. We were playing. Sorry, we would stop in the middle of the drink. We were playing a game the other day. It was Star and I and other friends. 4 of us were playing a game, and all of a sudden, little itty bitty Dorley comes walking down the stairs, and she's carrying this white fluffy ball that, no kidding, is about yay big. It's bigger than her head.
It is bigger than her
And
head.
she's got it in her teeth, and she comes down the stairs, happy as can be, sets it down, and she starts chittering at it. If you've ever seen a cat like chitter at birds or something, where the lower lip is just quivering and there's this chitter, 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 she was doing that with the white ball. It was so adorable, so adorable. Okay, creme de violette. The recipe that I have for doing an Aviation says 1/4 of an ounce of creme de violette. Here's the secret. Creme de violette can be very powerful on the nose, and if you go over with the creme de violette, not only will your drink turn purple as opposed to kind of a bluish purple color, but it will smell like your grandmother's soap, and we really don't want that. So I would say a scant 1/4 of an ounce on the creme de violette. You can always add a little more if you would like. Right, hun? Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we go. Scant. There. We're just going to go there. There we go. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. All right, see, that's much more, yep, blue, a little bluish purple. That's about where we want to be. Okay. I need to run to the back room for just a second. This has a canonical garnish, and that canonical garnish is one
Luxardo
cherry at the bottom of the glass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, put that there, and let some of the juice like slide off of it while I go get the chilled coupe. So we have a chilled coupe, and we are going to be shaking this. So what I'm going to do while I am shaking is I'm going to pour some ice into my chilled coupe glass to keep that cold. Cubed ice for shaking. There we go. That can go there. Like, what? That's way over the top of your glass. Yeah, it's just some of these ice cubes are stuck together, so it'll be fine. All right, we're gonna take this, go there, lid this up, and shake into cold, baby. Yeah, I'm seriously debating whether or not I need earplugs, but just for maybe this year, because man, that is loud. I don't know if you can tell just how loud that is, but that's loud. One of the bars we were at recently, there's very much a contrast between the two bartenders. One of the bartenders would just essentially put his glass in and start shaking, and I mean, he was just like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. The suction is going to pull these things together. Everything is fine. The other bartender was like, put that in there, slam that, turn it over, slam it again. If he had a different cocktail in his hand, he'd like slam the shakers together. I got to jam everything together. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I was just like, really, dude? I mean, come on, science here. All right. So there we go. We have our Aviation cocktail. We're going to toss the ice here. that. Set that here. We're going to grab our Luxardo cherry right like that. I'm just going to drop that right in there. And then we are going to double strain this. We have ice chunks. We have lemon juice. So we are going to double strain. Here we go. Oh yeah. And that is the right color for an Aviation. Alright, there you go. You maybe can't tell, but that is a light blue color. I mean, it's not a pastel blue, it's more of a purple blue, but it is the right color. But we're going to take a sip. Well, actually, we're going to sniff this, see if I've got the... Oh yeah, it is not too violet-y. Violet-y? Not too much violet. Oh. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Yes, I love making tiki cocktails. But
Bruce says looks good.
here's the issue. When I realized that Lovecraft Cocktails was a handle that was available, part of the reason that we snagged it was not just the fact that we like H.P. Lovecraft and we have this H.P. Lovecraft sort of theme going on with the tiki bar, but we truly love craft cocktails. And I sometimes forget that, there's joy to be had in these relatively simple craft cocktails using, 3-4 ingredients as opposed to these 7, 8, 9, 10 ingredients of some of the tiki drinks. And I just forget that I have the means of making some really nice cocktails around here that don't necessarily rely on my massive rum collection. So, oh wow, oh that is a really nice Aviation.
That is.
Now, some of that is the fact that we're using Monkey 47 gin, but still, that is. I did good on that one. Tonight we have done well on those 3 cocktails. What do you think, hon? Mm-hmm. Is that how many of those do you still have in front of you? You finished the Caipirinha?
I finished the Caipirinha.
So the Margarita is what, about half full?
Not even.
Not even, right? And you got the Aviation in front of you. All right. What else is on? So would it be nice to talk about what other things are on the menu? Would you be interested in knowing what else is on the menu? So I've got a copy of the version 0 of the menu here. So the non-tiki drinks, we start off with look, here are the simple, a spirit and some sort of mixer to go with it. Just to let people know that, look, yeah, we kind of bill ourselves as a craft cocktail home bar, but if you want a rum and coke, we'll do a rum and coke. If you want a Ray and Ting, that's Ray and Nephew and Ting or grapefruit soda, we'll do that. If you want a 7 and 7, I don't actually have any Canadian whiskey, but I can make do. I have some whiskeys and we have 7-Up and that can work. Whiskey and Coke, I have a variety of different whiskeys and bourbons. Nothing great. I mean, my focus is really Scotch and rum as opposed to other, it's definitely rum, Scotch, and then there's gins and some agave spirits, and then it starts to tail off there. It's more catch as catch can, more utilitarian spirits. But we can certainly do a gin and tonic or a gin fizz. I do have a note on here that I can do vodka tonics, but I will make fun of you for a vodka tonic. So you want it, that's fine, but you got to deal with me making fun of you. There are other simple cocktails that use some sort of extender on that. The Tequila Sunrise falls into this category for me. So it's tequila, it's orange juice, and a little bit of grenadine, right? There you go. What else is on there? The Paloma. So the Paloma is, the way I make Palomas is using agave spirit of some sort and then some grapefruit soda as well as a little grapefruit juice, right? So there you go. There's your Paloma. Cape Cods we can do, so vodka and cranberry, anything along those lines. We can also do more upscale versions of those. So certainly we could do the Cosmo, which adds a little orange curacao to the mix there. We have a fairly extensive spirits collection, so if you're ever coming over and you want just a simple, I want something at a mixer, look at the menu and then go visit our bar fridge back there, and what kind of juice or soda do you want with that. There are a lot of really nice things that you can do with just like a can of San Pellegrino lemon carbonated soda and an Amaro. Bing, there you go. Learned that one from Huey. That works really, really well. Next up on the non-tiki menu is the daiquiris and variations, and here I have sort of the standard house daiquiri, which is Probitas, a simple syrup, and lime juice. There you go, simple, straightforward. We have the P3. We've decided we're going to make this a thing. So this is Stiggins pineapple juice, acid-adjusted pineapple juice, Stiggins pineapple rum, pineapple juice that has been acid adjusted to the level of a lime, and then pineapple oleosaccharum for the sweetener. So pineapple as a daiquiri. The other variations on the daiquiri, the Caipirinha, and then it's really not, kind of is, I just throw it in the category because I didn't want to have a separate category for other rum drinks. We got the mojito, and the mojito, is essentially muddled mint, a little lime, and some rum. So there you go. Margarita variations. The margarita variations, we've got the Mezcal margarita, we've got your standard, typical, normal, ordinary margarita. We've got Tommy's margarita, which is nothing more than a tequila sour. So Tommy's margarita eschews the orange liqueur and goes for a straight, it's like a daiquiri essentially, but it's made with an agave spirit. That's all Tommy's margarita is. Substituting, instead of simple syrup, you use the agave syrup, of course. What else do we have there? Nothing. Gin drinks. We got the Aviation. We've got the Bee's Knees. If you really want it, I will do a martini for you. I just don't think that it's not my drink, and I have not mastered the martini, and I really think if you want a good martini, you need to have someone that really knows their way around a martini. But I'll do it for you. I've got all the ingredients. I've got the gin. I've got the vermouth. I can do it for you. I know how to do them. It's just not, it's just not a drink that I normally do. So, but it's going to be on the menu because there are people that want to have a martini, and I am happy to make them a martini as best I can, and then make them a tiki drink to wash the bad taste out of their mouth. So there's that. Negronis. Negronis are on the menu. Negroni is simple, right? Easy to remember. Negroni, gin, Campari, sweet vermouth, equal proportions. There you go. Done. Negroni. What else we got? Whiskey drinks. So, again, whiskey drinks are not a big thing around here. There's places you can go around to get whiskey, large bourbon collections, large rye collections. That's just not where I am. Most of my whiskey and my rye are things that have been cast in a rum cask, quite frankly, because it's like, oh, well, I can get that, but I can get a rum cast? Excellent, there we go. One of my favorite ryes on the planet is Angel's Envy rye that has been cast in rum barrels. Yay, right? So there's that. It's just not a focus for me. But what is on there, old fashions. Absolutely can do a rye old fashioned, a bourbon old fashioned, any sort of old fashioned you want. We can also go off book if you want a tequila old fashioned or a mezcal old fashioned or certainly a rum old fashioned. We can do that. But old fashioned is usually associated with whiskeys. We can do that. Manhattan. Manhattan is a 2-1-2 combination where you've got 2 ounces of either bourbon or rye, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, and 2 dashes of some form of bitters. Usually that is an Angostura bitters, but we're a craft home bar. Whatever bitters you want, we can do. What else is on there? The Rusty Nails, Scotch and Drambuie. Easy peasy. The Boston Sour or the Whiskey Sour, which is, look, it's whiskey, it's lemon juice, it's simple syrup, egg white in order to get the foam on it. There you go. And then the last one, which I remembered just at the last moment, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't leave that one out. It's essentially a rye old fashioned, but it's got the addition of a spritz of absinthe to it, and uses Peychaud's bitters instead of Angostura aromatic bitters, and that would be the Sazerac, because, well, I do Sazeracs every year for Thanksgiving, and I guess it's a drink that people like from me, so I should be doing the Sazerac as part of the home bar. So the Sazerac got added at sort of the last minute. And that's largely the collection of drinks, of sort of classic non-tiki drinks that are on the menu. But does that mean that that's this end-all and be-all of what we can do around here? Absolutely not, and at some point, I'm going to move on and have sort of a custom, maybe even seasonal, here are 4 or 5 drinks that for summer we are going to be doing, or 4 or 5 drinks for fall that we are going to be doing that will just be on that menu, and that'll go on the back page of the menu, and that'll work. And of course there's tastings. If you want to do a tasting, we can do that here. The one thing that we really can't do a tasting of is, like I said, whiskeys. We can certainly do the Scotch end of things, but if you want like a tasting of bourbons, I guess what I could do is I could put together either a rye or bourbon tasting of ones that have been cast in rum casks. But that's about what I can do. I do have a few different types of whiskeys, but I don't really have the selection of whiskey or the knowledge of whiskey to put together a good flight for you. Absolutely the best flight that I can put in your hands is going to be rum, because we can sit there and have a 10-minute long conversation about rum and what you like and what flavors you like and what you want to do. Do you want to go adventurous? Like what's the widest range of rum flavors I can get? Or do you want, let me see 3 expressions of the same distillery doing the same kind of thing but just minor variations? We can do anything you want there on the rum tastings. But the other end of that is, of course, like the bourbon tasting, where I think I may have 3 bourbons total. So that's like, there's not a whole lot of variation in the tastings there. Should point out that like any good bar, I mean, we're a home bar, so we don't have to. But like any good bar, we are quite capable of making you non-alcoholic or low-alcoholic cocktails or mocktails or whatever you want to call them. Something that is yummy to drink that doesn't have alcohol in it or has very, very low alcohol in it. Now, my first place that I'm going to go with that is probably going to be something like a bitters and tonic or bitters and soda. And you can just, whatever set of bitters you would like, we can do. But there are various things that we can do with all of the various syrups and fruit juices and oleos and that sort of thing that we have here. I'd probably start with some seedlip distilled non-alcoholic beverage and mix in some orgeat and go with that. My only real caution here is that if you are allergic to nuts, we do have orgeat, we do have falernum on the premises, and a lot of the barware has been touched by that. So nut allergies probably dangerous around here. But other than that, I mean, what else is there? What I'm not sure there's anything else to say. That's
Elizabeth likes the idea of the bar menu.
It'd be nice to actually have a bar menu, right? Yeah, eventually. Well, not eventually. We actually have a bar menu. Is anyone actually interested in what is on the tiki menu? Huh?
Yes.
Yes, there's a yes. All I need is one, please.
And Bruce likes how flexible the menu is.
Yeah, I hope that there is something on there for everybody. Even within the gin drinks, if you like a sweeter gin drink, the bee's knees is going to be right there. If you want a bitter gin drink, the Negroni's right there, right? So you got both ends sort of bookcased. I don't know why I put the rusty nail on, other than it's so freaking easy to do. Well, and one of my best friends, Debbie, is absolute sweetheart, and her favorite cocktail is a rusty nail. So Scotch and Drambuie. Although I tend to use Glavia instead of Drambuie. It's a Scotch-derived sweet honey liqueur. It's really nice. Makes a great rusty nail. Anyway, what's on the tiki menu? So here's I wanted to go with sort of classic tiki cocktails, and then I can always riff off of the various things that I have up here, or things that I've done recently for tiki parties, or things that I've done on Quarantiki recently. Can always do those sorts of things. But these are the drinks that I always want to have the ingredients on hand for. So you're not going to find the Missionary's Downfall on here, because sometimes I just don't have that much mint with me. But here we go. The drink that tiki nerds judge tiki bars by. The way in which we judge tiki bars is by this cocktail. It's the Mai Tai, right? If you've got a tiki menu, there's got to be a Mai Tai on there. Little side note, when we make our Mai Tais, we use a combination of rums. It's usually just 2 rums. And sort of the standard typical way of doing that is a deep Jamaican rum and some sort of rum agricole from a French territory. I've found that sort of a higher end rum, something that I really like with my Mai Tais, is not going with a rum agricole, but still going with what the French call a rum industrial, which is a molasses-based rum, but from a French territory like Guadeloupe, which just makes those Mai Tais are just phenomenal. It's so good. The only problem with that is Guadeloupe rums are a little hard to find, and so I don't have a whole lot of that. Hence, you're probably going to get a rum agricole and a Jamaican as opposed to getting the Guadeloupe, unless I really, really, really like you. 151 Swizzle. So the rum 151 Swizzle is a really simple drink. It's essentially rum and lime juice and some sweetener with a few drops of absinthe into it, and so it covers a lot of the same ground as several of the other drinks on the menu. But there is something just so fun about watching me take pebble ice and a lele stick and be doing this in your cocktail glass up and down until that glass gets icy cold and frosty. The theatrics of that drink just mean it's got to be on the bar. For those that want something a bit more tart but is still rich and complex, we got the Jet Pilot is on there. Jet Pilot is one of my favorite drinks. 3 rums, lime, grapefruit juice, spice syrup, falernum, bitters, absinthe, all these things. Very savory, spicy kind of cocktail in the baking spice sense of things. 3 dots and a dash. So here we go. A very similar kind of cocktail, so this is very, very similar in some ways to a Jet Pilot, except for the fact that, actually it's more similar to a zombie, but that's beside the point. But it brings in the rum agricole component, which I think is just a flavor that people aren't necessarily familiar with, and so I like having that on the menu to make them more familiar with that. The 1945 version of the zombie is on here. Actually, I think what I've done is not done the 1945 version of the zombie, because the well version of my zombie is the Beach Bum Berry version, which uses the Beach Bum Berry Hamilton rum blend, which it makes things easier and faster on me. So I mean, it's a really good zombie blend and it works really, really well. This is as I say on the menu, the original maximum of 2 per customer drink. This version tones down the hit of alcohol, but keeps all the complexity of the original zombie. Star wanted to make sure, and I completely agree with her, that there was something lightly boozy and sweet for those people that don't want that lime, bitter, sour component to the cocktail. And totally, we need a beachy, tropical drink. So we've got the painkiller on here. So you've got your rum, you've got pineapple juice, orange juice, and coconut cream in that. So, I mean, it's sweet and lovely and just a playful kind of drink. All right, there's no real attempt to be balanced here and take all these components and make sure that they're in this symphony. No. It's a sweet, beachy, tropical drink, and it's just luscious and yummy. But not all tiki drinks use rum. And so we wanted to make sure that we had something that was not rum-based on the tiki drinks, and that's, of course, the Saturn. So gin and gin and orgeat and passion fruit and lime juice all come together to make a really wonderful drink. We love the Saturn around here. It's a core drink of any, it should be a core drink of any, I think, tropical or tiki menu. And so we had to put it on there because I love it, and I always happen to have orgeat on hand, whether it's mine or homemade or somebody else's. I'm always going to be keeping orgeat on hand. It's such a versatile ingredient, even for non-tiki cocktails. So there you go. We've got the Mai Tai, the 151 Swizzle, the Jet Pilot, 3 dots and a dash, Zombie, Painkiller, and Saturn on the tiki menu. And then on the non-tiki menu, oh my gosh, we've got a bunch of stuff, but daiquiri in its variations, margarita variations, several whiskey cocktails, and then 4 or 5 gin cocktails, and then there's tastings of spirits. Okay, we're over time, sorry, which means, the end is in fact nigh. We're going to have to shut this down pretty quickly. I'm going to drink the last of this margarita and then see if there's anything left over there by my dear wife. And if not, I may have to make another cocktail because I don't have to be at work tomorrow. Yay! Star is reminding me, of course, that she doesn't actually have to be at work ever because she's retired and loving the retired life. That's okay. She still drives me to work each day. So I love her dearly. She gets an espresso from me. I get a ride from her. Life works out. It's all about balance and compromise in your relationships, folks. So just remember that when it comes to your relationship with Cthulhu. It's all about balance, right? Talk to you later. We will see you next week when we will be doing something else that's cocktail related here at Lovecraft Cocktails. Talk to you all. Goodbye. Oh, I'm supposed to be drinking. I got to drink. I don't know when this became a thing, but it became a thing. I've got to be drinking when we go off air. All right, so we go end live broadcast.